Good afternoon and welcome back to the post-lunch session of the Captive Power Conference Series 2009 in Raipur, being held by the Independent Power Producers Association of India. With me I have Shri S.P. Shukla, who is the Deputy Director of the Chhattisgarh State Electricity Regulatory Commission. Welcome to the conference, Mr. Shukla, sir. We'd like to know, sir, what role does any regulatory commission, and in particular the Chhattisgarh State Electricity Regulatory Commission, have in the development of the power market of the country?
The SERCs they have certain jurisdictions, so we can develop the power market for the state.
Right.
So we have various provisions according to the various duties assigned to the commissions under 86 of the Act. We have done a lot of work. We have framed open access regulation as per the mandate of the NEP. Timely we have framed this regulation in time. We have fixed the charges, open access charges right on 2006. So, and we are determining the tariffs every year. For renewable energy sources, we have decided the tariffs for biomass generating plants. For solar power plants, we have also decided the tariff. And a number of regulations for mandatory purchase for renewable energy sources. And we are, if you tell about the development of this sector, you have to note a very remarkable thing and a unique thing in Chhattisgarh, that in this year our distribution licensee was in a very comfortable financial position, and we are aiming, if it is possible, to create a very stable tariff regime in our state.
Great. So this will manage the problem of price fluctuations and volatilities.
Yes, because of this surplus power of the occasional surpluses of the distribution licenses, and the demand was less. Some power was sold outside the state, and there is we are aiming at providing a very stable tariff regime and reasonable and affordable prices of electricity to our consumers of the state.
Great, sir. Whenever the CSERC, for example, you came out with something that could be called a path-breaking judgment, in the sense that captive power producers or power producers were allowed to connect to a low voltage point in the grid. You know, it was difficult for captive power people, uneconomical for them to set it up right to the bus station of the high power where the SLDC could monitor them at 130 plus kV. So now you allowed them to do this at 33 kV, so you allowing them to actually inject power into the distribution grid and not the transmission grid.
Yes.
So doesn't this create a sort of a problem, because the SLDC is no longer in play for that point of time because it's coming via the distribution asset?
See, if you see the technical standards of connectivity of the grid regulation CA, and there is a concept of area load dispatch center. So this area load dispatch center, maybe we can form an area load dispatch center. Okay. For this 33 kV voltage level.
Okay.
They will coordinate with the SLDC. They will keep the generation and schedule, dispatch, and this all records of that particular voltage level, and they will coordinate with the SLDC, and this can happen.
But in that case, if Chhattisgarh can do it, why can't other states follow?
No, we have not formed still, because there is shortage of manpower for our distribution licensee. But there is a concept, but this can be done. There is provisions in the grid code also, state grid code also.
Whenever there is a schedule, or rather an unplanned schedule, an unscheduled interchange, for example, if there are people who are pumping in say 101 or 105% of power, and they are in a captive power situation, so this means that their load can fluctuate depending on their host company requirement.
Yes.
So suppose the host company requirement suddenly it drops to a level where they can exceed 105 and all that percent, but they're still not paid for it. Whereas if the load suddenly increases and there's a problem in say the electric arc furnace or something, and they can inject less than 100%, then they're penalized.
Yeah.
Then why is this so that they're not allowed compensation for the extra over 100%?
The law is interpreted by various agencies in according to what suits to them.
Right.
I would not like to comment on this particular subject because there is a case pending before the commission
It's
on this
sub
matter,
judice. Okay.
and the hearings are going on.
Right, right.
What I have to say, I have clearly stated in my presentation.
Right. So, Mr. Shukla, we'd like to know, is it possible for us to incentivize
Yeah.
infirm power? For example, that which will come from, say, solar energy, which will be very difficult to be passed off as firm power, but it can be banked and it can be used to incentivize rural energy
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe have rural
Yeah.
renewable energy projects, etc.
See, first let us we will not call it infirm power, we will call it non-firm power. Because infirm power is defined in that power which is generated before the commercial operation of a generating station. It is in CRC regulation. For understanding and simplicity, we can call it a non-firm power. You are talking about the solar power.
Absolutely.
So we are floating a discussion paper recently for the rooftop solar powers.
Right.
And there is a regulations in West Bengal for this modality of this interchanges of energy for solar power. So we will float a discussion paper very shortly. We have already fixed the solar power tariff according to the Ministry of MNRE's that's incentive schemes, 12 rupees and 10 rupees. But for this rooftop solar power, we are preparing a discussion paper. We will take the suggestions from all the stakeholders, distribution licensees, and we will work out everything.